Meet Professor Kishore Mahbubani, a former Singaporean diplomat and past president of the United Nations Security Council. In this video, he explains why Asia is poised to shape the future. Don't miss it.
On the question of what message I would give to either the Harris or the Trump administration, it's a very simple message. I would say, watch out for the new CIA. And CIA is not the Central Intelligence Agency. CIA is China, India, and ASEAN. Why China, India, and ASEAN? Because the total population of China, India, and ASEAN, if you add up 1.4 plus like 700, it's come to 3.5 billion people. Out of these 3.5 billion people, in the year 2000, only 150 million people were enjoying middle-class living standards. So customers for your products, 150 million out of 3.5 billion. By 2020, in 20 years, that number increased 10 times, from 150 million to 1.5 billion. By 2030, this is World Bank statistics, that number is going to go up to 2.5 to 3 billion. There's nowhere else in the world can you get 2.5 to 3 billion potential customers with disposable income to buy your kind of products. So clearly, it's in the interests of the United States to ensure that it is part of this growth story. And the amazing thing is that the United States has been a part of this great growth story in Southeast Asia, in East Asia, and including in China and India too. So it's a matter of giving priority to these areas. And I would say the one delicate point I'm going to make, it's a bit delicate, excuse me. For whatever reason, since the Cold War ended, so many American administrations have been preoccupied or bogged down by wars and conflicts. Whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's, Iraq and so on and so forth. Maybe the time has come for the United States to press the pause button on conflicts and wars and say, okay, done enough of that. Let me now focus on, engaging the world on the other side of the ledger, focusing on integrating economically with the rising parts of the world economy and make that the number one priority. Because at the end of the day, I mentioned leadership. Leaders like us only have 24 hours a day. And if you're going to spend 16 to 17 hours worrying about this war going on, that war going on, you don't have the time and energy to focus on your real long-term priorities. And the real long-term priority is to stay engaged with the positive side of the ledger. And on the positive side of the ledger, there are tremendous opportunities in this area.
Kishore Mahbubani highlights that the future lies in Asia, specifically focusing on China, India, and ASEAN, CIA, which together have a population of 3.5 billion. In 2000, only 150 million people in this region were middle class, but by 2020, this number grew to 1.5 billion and is expected to reach 2.5 to 3 billion by 2030. This growth offers huge economic opportunities, especially for the US. He suggests that instead of focusing on wars and conflicts, the US should prioritize economic engagement with these rising markets to benefit from Asia's growth.
But if you get involved in wars, you get distracted, and you're not part of the growth story. And that will be missing a great opportunity. Thank you. Great question. The simple answer is I see both great prospects and I see pitfalls too. And on the prospects front, I want to emphasize to all of you that it's important for you to all understand that ASEAN is a genuine miracle. And that's why I wrote the book called The ASEAN Miracle. Because, there's no other part of the world that is as diverse culturally or civilizationally as ASEAN is, okay? Out of the 700 million people, you have 250 million Muslims, 150 million Christians, 150 million Buddhists, Mahayana Buddhists, Hinayana Buddhists, you have Taoists, Confucianists, Hindus, and we have lots of communists also in Southeast Asia. Believe me, you can travel to South America, Africa, Central Asia, Northeast Asia. No other part of the world is as diverse as Southeast Asia is. So it's a remarkable part of the world. And British historians used to describe Southeast Asia as the Balkans of Asia, anticipating that all the big wars will be fought within Southeast Asia. And there were big wars, Vietnam War and so on and so forth. But for 45 years, ASEAN has been at complete peace, and ASEAN has grown dramatically, okay? There's one statistic which you should know to you understand how significant ASEAN's economic growth is. In the year 2000, Japan was the world's second largest economy. In the year 2000, Japan was 8 times bigger than ASEAN. 8 times bigger. Today, Japan is only 1.2, 1.3 times bigger. By 2030, ASEAN will be bigger than Japan. So we have taken in Southeast Asia the most diverse region of planet Earth, which was designed for wars, and we have made it into a zone of peace and prosperity, which is a remarkable achievement. But there are dangers, and the biggest dangers we face clearly is the US-China geopolitical contest. Because if the ASEAN countries are asked to take sides, then that will be a problem, and that would cause problems within ASEAN. I can tell you one of the things that I'm doing in these weeks that is quite interesting is that the president-elect, I can say this publicly, the president-elect of Indonesia, General Prabowo, has asked me to speak to his incoming team. I went 3 times to Jakarta. This morning I did it over Zoom, then I'll do one more session over Zoom. But when I talk to this incoming team of President Prabowo about the future and what the prospects are, one thing I emphasize to Indonesia is that we in ASEAN, especially Indonesia, should make an effort to keep ASEAN together and not get divided in any way if there is a US-China contest. Because all of us want to be friends with the US and want to be friends with China, and we don't want to take sides. And if we can keep that position, but there will be threats, there will be challenges coming our way. But at the same time, I must emphasize also that the opportunities in Southeast Asia are also phenomenal. And, there's something very special about a part of the world where at a time when you see, people, Christians and Muslims can't get along, Hindus and Muslims can't get along, and so on and so forth, right? In Southeast Asia, we get along. That's amazing. So we are actually, just as, the United States used to be, and still is in many ways, a shining city on the hill, right? Southeast Asia is a beacon also, because it's teaching the world how different cultures can collaborate. I mean, one of my criticisms I make of the European Union is that it's been around for so long, it could not admit Turkey as a Muslim country into the European Union. We in ASEAN, we can admit anybody, which is amazing. So if you want to create, at the end of the day, a more inclusive world order that can live with very different civilizations and live together in peace, the one civilizational laboratory that teaches you how to do this is the ASEAN Civilizational Laboratory.
Do you agree with Professor Kishore Mahbubani's perspective on Asia's rise? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Thanks for watching.